A billionaire accepted a reality show challenge: make $1 million with $100 in 90 days. He abandoned all his assets and connections, bringing only a broken mobile phone, an old car, and $100. Incognito, he came to a strange town, with a population of only 90,000. This arrogant rich man is called Glenn Stans. He started from scratch and founded the second largest lending bank in the United States. Today, his net worth has reached $2.2 billion. Accept the challenge, not for fame or fortune, just to prove that making money is not difficult. The challenge begins. His first step is to understand local prices and solve living expenses. After calculation, it costs at least $1,100 to live here for a month. So, he made a plan: earn $3,300 in the first week, which is equivalent to 2 months' salary of an ordinary person. Is it possible? He first went to the supermarket and bought a bunch of discounted instant noodles, and then asked the salesperson for boiling water, which was his first meal. Total cost was $11. Then, he brushed his teeth and washed his face in the supermarket toilet for a brief rest. He didn't dare to stay in the hotel that night and spent the night in the car. The outdoor temperature in the middle of the night reached -8 degrees Celsius. He was shivering with cold, but he gritted his teeth and pushed through. The next day, he started making money. He knew that the best job for him was sales. He has been a salesman all his life. The rich man decided to find a buyer first. On a local forum, he saw people wanting to buy used tires for sale, with the minimum price being $400. This is a good opportunity. He went to the garbage dump outside the city to look for tires, but the tires were all in poor condition. At the end of the day, he gained nothing and stunk all over. He must live somewhere where he can take a shower. He found the cheapest motel in the area, and discussed with the owner whether he could do odd jobs to pay for the room price. But the motel owner rejected him, and he could only stay for $51. Now, he only has $37 left. Sitting on the bed in the hotel, he sighed. This small amount of money is much harder to earn than big money. On the third day, no more trash can be found. His first priority is to make cash. He found a part-time job selling dog toys. He gets $1 commission for every one he sells. The rich man confidently went to the park and patiently sold dog toys to every dog owner, but no one bought them. The rich man realized the problem and violated his own principle. He should first find the seller and then sell the product. In fact, people don't have this need at all. At the end of the day, the toys were not sold, and the car was out of gas. He had to spend another $8 on gas. By the third day, the rich man was already destitute, but he really didn't want to eat instant noodles anymore. He had to find some fresh food to supplement his nutrition. So, he went to the shelter to work as a volunteer. Although he was not paid, he could still eat. When he finally ate the hot food, with mixed feelings in his heart, he realized that accepting this challenge was not just to prove something, but also to bring positive influence and hope to people. On the fourth day, the rich man found 2 more jobs. One was to print patterns on clothes in a t-shirt factory, and the other was to clean. In 2 days, he did all the physical work, including spray painting, mopping the floor, cleaning mirrors, and washing toilets, and earned $140. The rich man smiled happily and said, "This is more satisfying than any investment I have received before." On the 6th day, the rich man discovered a business opportunity. There were many advertisements for St. Patrick's Day in the town. This was a grand local festival, and there would be a lot of people there, so it was a business opportunity. He immediately contacted his previous t-shirt factory owner. "You sell clothes and I sell souvenirs." The two hit it off immediately. The rich went to the supermarket and bought all kinds of accessories at low prices before the festival: hats, necklaces, balloons, chess pieces, etc. The first lesson in investing is to buy low and sell high. The rich know this very well, but the reality is also cruel. He has spent all his money, and this is a desperate gamble. He said that whether it is a $500 million business or a $5 holiday balloon, there is essentially no difference. The secret is to listen carefully and convince others that they need your product. With rich marketing experience and taking advantage of the holiday enthusiasm, the products were indeed sold well. Working until night, they again targeted the revelers in the bar. Under the stimulation of alcohol, people are more willing to spend money. and the population there is densely populated. As long as one or two people buy, they can use the herd mentality to make everyone follow the trend. Soon the merchandise was sold out, and even the t-shirts he was wearing were sold. The rich man made $414 that night. In 7 days, the rich man quadrupled his $100 in a strange city, but he was still disappointed. This was 8 times different from the planned $3,300. But more trouble came. After sleeping in the car all night, the 55-year-old rich man collapsed. He felt dizzy and vomited all over the floor when he came out. He had no choice but to go to the hospital. A brief treatment allowed the rich man's blood pressure to return to normal. An X-ray examination showed that his body was fine. However, the high medical costs in the United States cost him $250. But the rich man is very optimistic. He said that this is necessary risk control. Although he only has $146 left, he just knows that he will be fine. On the 9th day, the rich man continued to scavenge, looking for tires to resell. Finally, he found a mountain of tires along the railway line. The rich man found a treasure inside. He found a scrap tire from a bulldozer and 4 good industrial tires. He contacted the buyer to inspect the goods, except for 2 small ones that were seriously worn. Everything else was required. The rich man asked for $1,800, and after some haggling, the deal was settled for $1,500. The rich man was very excited. This was his first big success since the challenge. Relying on junk, the value was raised to $1,600. It relies not only on knowledge, but also on unremitting efforts. Oh, I can finally find a house to live in. His original budget was $625 per month, but now, he decided to find a cheaper apartment, priced at $400. He quickly found a place, and after paying the first month's rent and deposit, he still had $794 left. Although this old apartment didn't even have a bed, it was still more comfortable than the car. Next, he can concentrate on his entrepreneurial projects. The rich first find the local entrepreneurship support center to obtain information. He then visited 3 successful entrepreneurs to explore ideas. Finally, based on local market demand, he decided to enter the craft beer industry. But he only has more than $700 in his pocket now. How to start? He wanted to resell second-hand cars. He knew that many car dealers would buy auction cars and sell them at low prices. The rich man decided to try his luck. Unfortunately, after a few days, he found nothing. He has been eating cold water instant noodles for 11 days. He doesn't even have a fork and can only use his hands. He could only sleep on the cold floor. On the 12th day, he finally spotted a suitable car and offered a price of $500. The young man disagreed and asked for $1,000. The rich man took out all the money he had and said, "I only have $700 left. Do you want to sell it?" The young man agreed. Now, he has dozens of dollars left on him. Fortunately, he had done some research and knew that a car in this condition could be sold on the market for around $3,000. This is the importance of information gaps in the market. He drove the car to the side of the highway, put up a billboard, and waited for buyers. Sure enough, someone called him 2 days later. The rich man tried his best to sell his car and quoted $4,500. After some haggling, the deal was finally settled at $3,900. He bought it for $700 and sold it for $3,900, making a net profit of $3,200. It was so cool. Next, the rich man spent another $1,000 and bought a second-hand Cadillac. Still doing the same thing, washing outside and cleaning inside, putting up billboards, and leaving contact information. 2 days later, another buyer contacted him. He confidently introduced the car and took someone for a test drive. The buyer was very satisfied, bid $7,600, and sold it successfully. $1,200 to buy and 6 times to sell. On the 20th day, the rich man had $9,000. With the money, he bought some cheap mattresses and pillows, and the rich man finally had a bed. But this money is not enough. If he wants to accumulate capital quickly, he must speculate in real estate. But can he really buy a house with only $7,000? Never underestimate the rich. After working in the financial industry for so many years, he knew that banks would have some hidden loan projects that required a very low down payment to buy a house. He took a fancy to a house worth more than $30,000 and the down payment was only $6,600, which also came with a renovation loan of $10,000. The rich man investigated the housing prices nearby and found that the highest price could be more than $90,000. He immediately contacted the agency and went to the site to conduct on-site inspections. This house is of good quality and well equipped. It can be resold as long as some ground is renovated. The rich man was very satisfied and decisively bought the house. However, if you want to start a business, you definitely can't do it on your own. He wanted to recruit employees online. If he didn't have a computer, he would borrow one. If he didn't have an office, he would go to the Entrepreneurship Support Center to apply for a conference room. Everyone who was interviewed that day came, and he directly stated that this is a startup company, and there is no salary required. But if you have a dream, we will work together. Most people thought he was a liar and left, but in the end, there were 5 people left. They saw a special charm in this middle-aged man. They were right. This man's name was Glenn Stans. His true identity was the founder of the second largest lending bank in the United States, and he was worth at least $500 million. He accepted a reality show challenge. He had to make $1 million from $100 in 90 days while hiding from scratch. 27 days later, he made a small profit of $8,000 by reselling second-hand cars. He used the money to take out a loan to buy a house, which he planned to renovate, and then sold it as startup capital for starting a business. He found an interior designer with the best reputation in the area, and invited her to join the entrepreneurial team. He also gave her the $10,000 loan he received for the renovation, fully trusting her ability. Although the money was far from the renovation budget, the designer was moved by his entrepreneurial spirit, and agreed to join the project. Then the rich man brought in employees to renovate the house together. Although the rich man is 56 years old, he does everything by himself and does all the dirty work. However, a big problem arose when cleaning the house. The house was already moldy. Cleaning up the mold would cost $5,000, which was far beyond the budget. But now that the house is the foundation of his business, he had to hire a mold removal company to clean the house, which delayed the renovation progress. A few days later, the rich man looked at the house again. It was still a mess and there was almost no progress. At this time, the time until the target is less than 60 days. The rich man was very anxious. He called the designer and asked her seriously what was going on. The designer said that she had tried her best, but the budget was limited, and there was not enough manpower. Everyone was doing things for free. After understanding the situation clearly, the rich man knew that there was no need to exert any more pressure at this time. He patiently discussed the plan with the designer and asked everyone to help. Some people even called his father and friend. This is the power of connections. As long as you are good at building them, you will be rich. After a few days, the house was finally renovated. Let's take a look at the comparison before and after the renovation. Brand new rooms, well-designed kitchen. In the end, the house was sold for $75,000. After receiving the funds, the rich man immediately organized a meeting with employees. After research and visits, they decided to enter the craft beer industry. The fat guy in the team is proficient in hardware and is responsible for the production of brewing equipment. The guy is responsible for website construction and online promotion. The tattoo guy is responsible for procedures and resource integration. The beer guy once visited breweries with rich people to connect with partners. Everyone performs their duties and prepares for a big fight. But at this time, the lawyer told him that it would take at least 60 days to apply for documents to open a brewery. The rich man was confused and all his plans were disrupted. He visited around the town and found that no barbecue restaurants here sold beer. He smelled a business opportunity again and planned to open a beer barbecue restaurant. Since we can't produce beer, we sell beer. The rich man went to the city center to select a shop, and recruited several very capable chefs to constantly experiment, adjust and negotiate on the barbecue flavor to help him achieve the best results. Then he went to various breweries to discuss cooperation. If it didn't work once, he would go home and learn from his lessons, and then go a second or third time, until he reached an agreement. Everything was ready, but unexpectedly, the landlord suddenly changed his mind about the store he had negotiated, and said he would not rent it. This news was like a thunder, and the entire team might even be disbanded, but the rich man had to confess to everyone. Surprisingly, although everyone was very disappointed, They in turn encouraged the rich man and expressed their willingness to work together to overcome the difficulties. They mobilized their local connections and finally found a new store. Not only was it in a good location, it also had ready-made equipment, and the decoration budget was saved a lot. At this time, there are only 18 days left before the end of the challenge. How can a newly opened store be valued at $1 million in such a short period of time? The rich man came up with an idea: participate in the city's barbecue competition, Ribfest. If they can win the award, it will definitely be the best brand promotion. But in their team, there is a billionaire who works in lending, a fat guy who works in machinery, a strong man who works in clothing, a single mother who works in interior design, and 3 chefs. But they have never participated in a barbecue competition. How can they become famous instantly? The rich man gave the answer: a layman who is 200% prepared is better than an expert who is 80% prepared. Rich man invited barbecue experts to come over and impart their experience, covering everything from marketing strategies to the placement of ribs, and no detail was spared. Due to lack of experience, they are still in various situations. It was less than 8 hours before the Rib Fest started, and their ingredients hadn't been thawed, the shelves hadn't been set up, and the electricity wasn't even turned on. After finally getting this done, they were stopped by the health department because they didn't bring hot water. This was the responsibility of the chef, so she ran to the side to rest, and the others had to prepare hard. Finally, the hot water came and the health department inspection passed. They welcomed their first customer, and the ribs sold for $25. More people came, and everyone enjoyed the meal and gave high praise. The black guy in the team doesn't seem to have any special skills, but his humor attracts many customers. Soon there was a long queue in front of their stall. This is inseparable from the rich man's discerning eye for people. He knows everyone's strengths and then makes good use of them. They made $3,090 on the first day. Not bad. The next day, they learned some lessons and made improvements. Business was better, and even internet celebrities came to live broadcast for them. But soon, trouble struck. The beef brisket was sold out, and then the pork, which was their store's signature product. Many people left because of the shortage, and the rich man was very frustrated. This is again the responsibility of the chef. By the end of the day, they had made $5,178, which was not bad, but they could have made more if they had prepared better. The rich man said to the chef, "Tomorrow we will need at least twice the amount." She said there was no problem. On the third day, they were full of confidence and more customers came here. However, at noon, the beef brisket and pork were out of stock. The rich man was really angry, but he knew that as a leader, he had to be calm. He asked the chef how long it would take, and the chef was rude, and said she didn't know. In the evening, as more customers left, the rich man decided to talk to the chef, but they ended up having a disagreement. The chef kept making excuses and even walked away. If she gives up at this time, everyone's efforts will be in vain. Fortunately, the black man followed her immediately, calmed her down, and begged her to come back. The rich man also went over to apologize and communicate with her. On this day, they made $8,337. On the last day of Rib Fest, they made all preparations, but suddenly encountered extreme weather and heavy rain. The strong wind blew down their signs, and everyone else closed their stalls. Go. The rich man shook his head, and said, he will never give up until the last minute. On that day, they not only sold $5,000, but also won 2 awards in the barbecue competition. The whole team yelled with joy. They worked day and night for 4 days and finally saved up enough funds to open a store. At this moment, the rich man made a difficult decision. He wanted to fire the chef. Although she tried her best at the Rib Festival, she failed to prepare the inventory of ingredients and could not control her emotions in the high-pressure environment. As the rich man said, effort and results cannot be confused. He would reward the chef afterwards, but that was the end of the partnership. The rich man had been secretly observing the whole process of the Rib Fest, and found that among the several chefs, the cowboy brother had the best skills. and the brunette girl had rich experience in kitchen management. He decisively invited them to officially become the main force of the restaurant. Next, they must put all their energy into the preparation of the restaurant. After deducting living expenses and restaurant renovations from the Rib Festival income, there is still $8,000 left to pay for wages and preparations before the restaurant opens. On the 88th day of the challenge, there were only 2 days left before the goal of earning $1 million. All the furniture was in place, and Rich Man mobilized all members to finish the store decoration work. No one knows the rich man's true identity and challenge mission, so they don't understand why he is in such a hurry. On the 89th day, the challenge was about to end. The rich man decided to reveal his true identity. He told everyone that his real name was Glenn Stans, who had founded the second largest lending company in the United States. Although he has a net worth of hundreds of millions, in order to prove that an unknown person can earn from 0 to 1 million, he accepted the challenge of this reality show of starting from scratch in 90 days. Choking with tears, he expressed his gratitude to everyone and apologized for hiding it. Unexpectedly, the team was not angry. Everyone was surprised and laughed. Everyone fully trusted and loved him. And finally the day of opening came. Because of the great victory at Rib Fest, there was a long queue at the door early, and all the customers were very satisfied with their food. The kitchen is well organized, and the service is attentive. They are very successful. In the end, the rich man distributed money to everyone and divided shares among them. Their hard work for so long finally paid off, and they were very grateful. The asset appraiser invited by the program team also gave the final valuation of the barbecue restaurant, $750,000. The rich man's goal was to earn $1 million in 90 days. He failed, but in my eyes, he was too successful. During the 90 days of the challenge, he first braved the weather of more than 10 degrees below zero, slept in the car every day, and ate instant noodles for 7 days in a row. Later, he picked up garbage, cleaned toilets, and did all kinds of dirty and tiring work. He experienced many failures. On the 8th day, he suddenly fell ill and spent more than half of his money. On the 16th day, a lawyer told him that his business was dead. On the 32nd day, mold was found in the new house he bought. On the 53rd day, the store he agreed to rent suddenly regretted it. He said he wouldn't rent it anymore. Every failure disrupted the entire plan, but the rich man was not discouraged. He was courageous and resilient. So, whether he has a net worth of hundreds of millions or 1,200, he can always succeed. For us ordinary people, sometimes the difference between us and the rich is not the ability to guarantee a fortune of 100 million, but rather how to make good use of the only $100 we have. This is HKY Movies. Looking forward to meeting you next time.